we're going to create a fishing lure today. It's going to be an ABS blank, it's a clear blank. We use a variety of products from Anarchy models, from Whitmore farm, from Createx Colors, and then a few other odds and sods. So let's get straight into it, shall we? So first up, we'll grab our mixing cup, which is an art cup, and we're going to grab our UV resin. So our UV resin, we're going to add, it's not a very big lure, so we won't need a lot of this. We're going to have a transparent effect with a mica powder going through it. That's going to be the start of our lure, not the end. Like I said, I don't want this to be overpowering, so you can add as much mica powder as you need to your resins, but we ain't going to put, basically, you can see the shimmering effect of the purple there. So we're only going to use, well, even half of that, actually. That's all we'll need. I'll shut that back down. Got our stirring stick, and we'll just mix it in. So we'll grab our lure, in which we're going to have use of our third hands here, which is extremely popular. Allows you to do lots of applications without getting your hands all over the lure, and you can get to all of it properly. Now, this is going to be in reverse of what you would custom paint normally. We're going to create some lines and streaks. Just don't want it to be too overpowering. Okay. So we're going to put candies over the top of this. So we're just using this as a reference to the background. So this is the beauty of third hands. You can move your lure around wherever you want to. And we do want some areas that are a little bit darker, so the candy bounces off of that. So we're just going to dab in a couple of bits. So we've allowed most of the lure to stay transparent and see-through, right? So for your brush, once you've used it, it's not a throwaway, because Createx Colors has a product that works. It's 4008 Restorer, and you can wash out your brush with the UV resin in it before it's cured. If you cure the resin, obviously it won't come out. But prior to curing, this will clean out all of that resin and the residue. So for the next part, we need to cure this particular resin. So I've got a power bank here. You can use a computer, USB, whatever you need. And we have ourselves a USB curer. Now, we'll just plug it into the power bank. We're going to take some blue tape in this particular instance. And we're going to remove the fishing lure, and we're just going to pop it straight on top, like that. And we're going to put this on for 150 seconds, and that will cure this resin, ready for touching and ready for the next application. Our lure's good and dry. Now it took a couple of minutes. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our Wicked Colors opaque black, and using the detail brush, well, everything has to be an airbrush. We're just going to go around and just paint in the eye. So now we're going to do a bit of a dry brush technique, and we're going to use the same flat brush that we use for the resin, and we're going to load it up with some black, and then we're going to start dabbing that black out. We don't want a lot in there, but just around the eyes. And then on the cures. Okay, and that's all we're going to do. So we'll dry that. So now I've got my Wicked Colors aluminium base medium, and we're going to do the same thing. And we only just want to lightly touch some of these areas outside the eyes. We don't want this inside the eyes. That'll just give us a bit of a glimmer effect underneath the candy. But we want a little bit of that black still showing, so we're not going to knock out all the black. Just a little bit around the cure rakes. Not a lot. When we hit it with candies, they'll glow. So I'll continue and get this dried up. So what we're going to do is we're going to put some tips on this, like scale tips, and this is Anarchy models. And we're just going to lay that over the middle there. I'm using aluminium meters from Wicked Colors, and we'll just put that up. Now it won't look like a lot there, but when we clear coat it, it'll give a shimmering effect. So I've been using my Water Neo TRM1s 0.35. These stencils you want to keep them nice and clean so you can use them next time. With all the water-based paints on the website, all you need is thick wipes. Leave them straight off, ready for next use. You've seen how quick and easy that was. Like new, ready to go again. So this one stencil will last you forever if you look after it. So all of the Anarchy models and all of the Whitmore Farm stencils are made from Mylar, so they're all washable. The other thing is, if I want to transfer to the other side, I would then wipe this off, turn it over, put on the fishing lure, and we can then do the reverse side without any paint transfer. Quick, easy, professional. Okay, let's get started with some candies. So this is from Createx Colors, Candy 2O. Normally you would mix it with 4050 EVLS gloss and a little bit of 4011 reducer, but we're using just a small amount because it is a little lure. I won't be doing that in this application. We have our airbrush TRM1 Tequila Yellow. Candy 2O is from Createx Colors. Gonna need a few drops because we're really not gonna spray a lot of this. We'll just do a little test spray first to make sure we got color. We do. So one of the things I want with this is I want the transparency of the lure. That's why I'm not going to pound it on.
The camera might not be picking it up, but the scale effect, you can see the scales just in here. So Anarchy models, those scales are showing, they're going to glimmer. Okay, for our second colour, we're going to use Grabber Orange. There again, same deal. We're only going to use a little bit, so we only need a few drops. It's only one lure. We'll do the test spray first. You can see straight away, colour combination. Now this is going to melt in with the yellow, so you're going to get some really interesting colour variations here if you want to, depending on how far you push the envelope the colour. Straight away you can see, oh, I can see those scales are jumping. They're great, it's good. And I don't want a lot of this, so I think that will pretty much do it. Okay, so we're going to have to dry this up, mainly because now we have to handle the lure because we want to go underneath. Okay, that's real time. Look at that, it's ready to go. What was that, 10, 15 seconds maybe? And we're now ready to put our last colour on it. And our last colour is going to be, we'll get that out of the way, it's going to be blood red. I think it's easy to tell what I'm doing here. There again, only a handful of drops. Candy 2O goes an extremely long way. And there you go. Beautiful colour combination, yellow, orange, red, can't go wrong. And there we go, we'll leave it at that. We'll dry that up now and we'll then do some final touches on it. To make sure that the next application of paint, if you were to put another coat of a colour over the top of this, you don't want it bleeding into the candies, because the reducer will allow for the candy to come back into the next coat and it will actually bleed in, change your colour. So if you want to go ahead and put a different colour on, then you should be using bleed checker, and basically you want just one coat, maybe two at the most, and straight from the bottle, no reducer, and that will stop any leaching of colour coming back into your next coat. So your candy will stay exactly as it is as you see it now, which is pretty much how I was hoping it would look. It's not finished yet, that's just the background side of it, so we'll then get to the next stage. So this is a Whitmore Farm stencil, and it's obviously fins, and you're meant to spray through this, but I'm just going to show you another way that we can get some sort of a design on here without actually using an airbrush. So I've picked one. I've got myself a paint marker here, and I'm just going to go through and mark this with a paint marker. That's all we're going to do. Now, will it be as exact as an airbrush? Probably not. I'm going to have to clean this up with something else. This stencil, and in this case we got Restorer from Createx Colors, and we'll just give that a wipe over with Restorer, and as you can see, that's come off straight away. Now that will leave a wet film, so we need a dry bit.
Okay, so now we've got our dotting tools. These dotting tools, there's 5 of them, 10 different sized ends. These things are absolutely brilliant when it comes to fishing lures or model making. So we're going to just grab one, doesn't really matter which one. We've got some wicked opaque colors here. Now this is opaque limelight green, just because I can. And we're just going to lay in some dots. No airbrush required for this. How hard you push is how big a dot you get. So you can get in the little ones. Or you can put it down a little bit harder, a little bit more paint, and the dot size will get bigger. Now, if you're not happy with the dot size, come back over the top and do it again. So I think we don't want too many of these. I reckon that'll just about do it for this, and I'll continue on, maybe a couple of little ones at the top. Yep, there's plenty. I think this is a pretty wicked design. Okay, so the last thing I want to do with this lure is bring it to life with some shimmer. It's going to be like bait fish in the water. So what we're going to do is we're going to add some wicked colors highlights. You can use highlights or cosmic sparkles for this. What they are essentially is a micro flake inside a transparent base. Transparent base dries out clear, leaves the flake behind only. So this will not look like a lot when you're putting it on, believe me. Because you put a flare over this and you shimmer around the light, this will make all the difference. We don't want to go too far down the lure. Keep it basically to the top half. Okay, that's resin. So this is our top coat. We'll just put some. So that'll probably be enough. So using the same brush that we used before, we'll be able to clean this up in Restorer afterwards again, so we can use it over and over. Now we don't want to put this on too heavy, because weight will make it run and sag. If you want to, at this stage, you could put your eyes in first before you do this. A lot of fishing lure people do this. Stops them from popping out. So when you put your resin on, that is when all your colors pop. I can now see straight through this, and you can see the veins that were created with the first resin with the mica powder. It was a purple, shimmering purple, which matches up with all these colors, so it looks good. I know some people will come back after they've cured it and they'll do a second coat. And there's one particular lure manufacturer here in Australia that is very popular and very well known, whom we supply Createx Colors to, and they will do 3 coats of resin, curing in between, to give it that real deep solid look that you can only get by applying multiple coats. So, and we will bring back our UV Cure. Now this is a hobbyish UV Cure, and as you can see, there is no way that fishing lure is fitting underneath. So we need to build the sides up and get it up above the fishing lure, and you can use anything you've got lying around. We've got some down here, so we'll just move this fishing lure out the way for a second. Pop them out the way so it doesn't get damaged, and we'll just create a couple of dowel bridges in which we can put cure on. Cut the height, we've got it underneath, and then we'll pop our UV light on. That's 150 seconds. That'll cure that side completely. We'll flip it over and we'll cure the other side, and not have to touch it. Okay, so there you have it. It's what we've finished off camera. We've put some blue dots on it using wicked opaque daylight blue, and we actually did 3 coats of the UV resin. 1 coat without the eyes, 2 coats with the eyes in place to lock them down. As you can see, as I shimmer that around, you can see the blue, you can still see through it, and you can see the first lot of pigment that was put down. That all stands out now. So that first UV coat of mica powder, that's your dark patches, and the purple and the shimmering. And I can see the scale effect that is from Anarchy models, and I can also see the fins in which we put in down the bottom. So there you go, there's a comprehensive guide to fishing lures. It's not hard, it's fun. The UV resin does not mix with the Wicked Colors or the Createx Colors, so it doesn't muddy up anything you've painted. It leaves it as it is, and basically puts a nice clear solid coat on top, ready for you to go fishing. In fact, we could go fishing right now with this particular lure. It's cured, and that's like an hour and a half's work, and that's really mucking around for the camera. If you're doing it just for yourself, you do it pretty quickly, and off you go. Enjoy.